On this particular engine we have a standard two-stroke carbureted 30 horse Johnson. When it comes to carbureted two strokes, there's a little different ways to do the ignition systems, but for the most part a carbureted outboard is a carbureted outboard is a carbureted outboard once you start understanding that the differences are minimal. They each need to have spark, they each have the compression, and they all need to have fuel to make them run. On this particular engine right here, it has a running issue. We're going to go through and troubleshoot out the problem and get to it. When we finally find the problem, then we're going to tear apart and see what it actually is, since we're in a fuel systems unit. Kind of gives it away that it's a fuel system problem. So we're going to troubleshoot this out, and we're going to show you a few other tidbits of information on the way through, so to help you learn and to understand the carburetor function on this particular engine. So first of all, the customer's complaint is that he can do high-end throttle, but it will not idle. Doesn't idle for very long at all. Idles for maybe 30 seconds at the very most, is all he can get it to go. Once you pull the throttle all the way back down. So one of the things we do in troubleshooting is we need to document or confirm that the customer's problem is actually what the customer says it is. So we're going to start this up. It's going to get noisy. It might get a little smoky in here. So we're going to throttle it up to give it a warm-up throttle. So to start a cold engine, you give it some throttle. On this, we pull the primer out, and if you look right here, you can see a little red line. So that little red line on there lets us know that the primer is functioning right now. So we're going to push it back in. We're going to pull it out and let it go to where it needs to be. Right there, the primer is still on. You can see the red line. It's still functioning. It's not pushing fuel the whole time right now. It's only going to push fuel when either I'm moving it by hand or when the engine's cranking and running. So we're going to start it up. Alright, so you can definitely see the customer's problem there. I had the primer on. I'm going to give it 2 more strokes. I'm going to fire it back up again. It's running out of gas. You know, if I pull the primer out, it'll keep doing that over and over and over and over again. It might get a little bit better. We're going to confirm what the customer says is that it actually does run on top end. That'll tell us that, one, the fuel pump is working, the fuel supply is all right. It'll tell us that the ignition system is functioning properly on top end. So we're going to give it a couple more shots of gas. We're going to leave the primer be active. I'm going to fire it up, and as soon as I get this thing started, I'm going to pop her in gear and I'm going to rev her up a little bit. And we'll be able to see that the engine does keep on running for indefinitely. Bring it back to an idle. As soon as I bring it back to an idle, it lasts for maybe 5 seconds, and then the motor dies. Okay. When you have an issue like that, you can pretty much assume that you have a problem in the idle circuit of the carburetor. We have up to 7 different circuits in a carbureted engine. In this case right here, we have the idle, we have the starting circuit, we have a high-speed circuit, we got a fuel supply circuit on this particular carburetor, and we're going to go through those, and you'll be able to see those in a little bit. So let's pull this cowling off, undo the back, pull this up out of the way. Here you can see the carburetor. We need to take this guy off. But to get to it, because of this one nut right here, there's no good way to get at it. Right there that we're looking at. I need to pull the starter out of the way. And that leads to a whole other bag of snakes here. One thing when you're working on an engine that has electric start or has a battery hooked to it, when you're doing the work, you want to make sure that you disconnect the battery so you don't cause any sparks which might lead to a fire. So I'm going to grab a wrench here and we take the negative off the battery. Get the negative out of the way, put the nut back on it so don't get lost. Now we're going to start disassembling this engine so we can get at this carburetor right here. Let's disconnect the fuel line. I'm just going to put that in there so it doesn't fall on the ground. And we'll start pulling this apart.